In what you said, the word that jumped out for me was willingness. Because isn't the willingness an act of love? A love for myself, and ultimately a love that goes back to join me in source, which then is joined to everybody else. So, and that's the quality that sometimes I find difficult. I feel less willing sometimes than others. Always I come round to willingness, and sometimes it takes longer. But that willingness is a very special quality.
We'd like to soften the word willingness and call it inevitability-ness.
Okay. Yeah, but you want to do it before you croak.
Well, you made the decision to come forth into this body, not with willingness, but with eagerness.
Okay.
Not just, okay, I'll go. I'll make the best of it. You came with incredible enthusiasm because you understood what was about to happen. You understood that you would be inspired to new heights, and not new heights that were unachievable, but new heights that were every one achievable. In other words, there was no sacrifice or no sense of willingness, you see.
But now there is, given, well, in my case, it's certainly an issue for me sometimes to find my willingness. It's as if sometimes I'm my own worst enemy, it would seem.
Well, you always are, not sometimes. In other words, and not only are you your own worst enemy, we're not just talking about you, we're talking about all of you. You are your only enemy.
Yeah.
Not just the worst one, the onlyest one.
Sometimes I practice it more than others, that's the point.
Well, what is it about the word willing that you like so much?
Well, because in those moments where I felt I've given up my own resistance to become willing, it's like I'm loving myself again. I'm allowing myself to be loved by myself through my connection with Source. So for me, it's a very special experience when I felt like I'm battling a bit, and then I become willing. And so for me, it's
Esther remembers in those months that she was meditating and realizing that she was finding us, not really knowing how to define us. But she remembers formulating the word, I'm willing, because there was a certain reluctance, because she did not have any idea where this might lead. She had not received enough from us to really understand who we were or what it would mean in her life experience. But she came across that word willing and felt great relief in it. The reason that we are stubbornly playing with you a little bit about it is because the truth of it is you come into this physical experience where contrast just is, and whether you're willing to acknowledge it or not, it is all around you. And so step one just happens whether you're willing or not. You know, you just can't help but produce new desires. It's just going to happen. You can't go through a small part of a day without a new desire being born. And so that doesn't require willingness. It just requires beingness.
Step 3 requires willingness.
You be here and it happens. And then step 2, it doesn't require any willingness on your part either. It just happens. It's momentum that has been set in motion and you knew it. And so is there willingness that is necessary in step 3? Let's think about it. Do I have to be willing? What makes one want to reach for alignment? Is it some willingness that has been assigned, or is it an innate desire to feel good?
Yes.
And so you're saying to us that sometimes you struggle to find the willingness to feel good? Really?
Yes.
Sometimes people will say, okay, Ram, I'll listen to your silly laws and I'll apply them. If it'll get me what I want, if it'll bring the manifestation. And then sometimes they reluctantly say, all right, I guess I'm willing to feel good if I have to in order to get what I want. And we say, there's a misunderstanding in there, because feeling good is what you want, you see. So we think maybe with willingness, you're talking about focus. You see, this is the reason that we're poking at this a little bit harshly with you. Not really willing to accept the premise that you've laid out here. We know for sure that not one of you would have to ever know anything about who you were prior to coming into this experience. We know that this experience would provoke from you expansion. And we know that you are so innately wired with this resolve to feel good. You have this selfish nature that has been part of your makeup. And by selfish, we mean you care about the way you feel. If you're not selfish enough to care about the way you feel, then you have no reasonable measure or ability to move deliberately toward anything. So that selfish nature is just innately within you, you see. And so we just are going to tease you a little bit, a lot, for a little while, forever, about this reluctance that you are pretending to have about being willing to feel good, because nothing short of that will ever do. We will acknowledge that many of you have developed some patterns of thought that make feeling good more difficult. Yes. But it isn't because you're not willing. It's because you don't understand law of attraction, and because you don't really understand your relationship between you and you. This is the thing that the conversations that we have with you lays in your experience in a way that you can finally understand how you fit into the whole of things. If you are not understanding that your emotions are your indicator between the two vibrational aspects of you, then you have no way of measuring anything. You're sort of like corks bobbing about on the ocean, you see. So if we were standing in your physical shoes, we would say, not I'm willing to find alignment, but it is the only thing that is natural. And it is